Podcast over, we're done.
There were times of the highs and there were the times of the lows. It's a 24/7 job. You want to show people you're real, but you also want to show them that you're professionals. And so now I'm just really going on to 2025, growing it with my husband.
Welcome to the Venture Into Moving podcast with your higgity host, Nate Becker. That's me.
Well, let's just get started.
Okay, we'll see how it goes. Do you ever stop it at times? Like, no, you just keep going?
I try to just get raw and just one take.
Okay.
And then when it comes to the editing, I pretty much just make sure that nobody did anything horrible.
Yeah.
And then if there's something horrible edited out, like yesterday, I did one and then I just went, stuttered so hard.
Yeah.
So hard. I said, don't worry, we're going to edit that. So.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
All right. Well, today we have Nicole Fitch from John L. Scott here in Bend, and we're going to talk all things real estate. It's going to be exciting.
Oh, exciting stuff.
I'm pretty jazzed. And this is the only question I really have for you. It's the major pressing question. I hope you don't mind me getting deep.
Get deep.
What's the L stand for in John L. Scott?
Lennox.
Lennox? Podcast over, we're done. No, I'm just kidding. So how long have you been into real estate? What got you into it?
So I've been in real estate for 5 years, and actually I grew up in the field of real estate, meaning my parents.
You've only been in it 5 years?
I've only been in it for 5 years.
You seem like a stone cold vet.
Oh, well, like I said, I feel like my entire life I've been in real estate. So my mom, Danielle Snow, who is a well-known broker here in Central Oregon.
That's how I met you.
That's how you met me. She got her license when I was probably about 4. So I feel like it was always kind of part of my life. My dad got his real estate license and he went more to the mortgage broker side of things.
Okay.
So growing up with parents both in real estate, there were times of the highs and there were the times of the lows. And I really kind of watched my parents hit different times of when things got really tough.
Did it coincide with the housing market, or what made the highs and the lows?
The housing market.
It's just completely that.
Completely the housing market. I mean, you could talk to my parents if they were here. You know, there was a point where, interest rates, they were double digits. They would talk about how their interest rate on their first home was probably 16, 17%.
Was that what was that?
In the 80s.
Jeez, I'm crying.
So but homes were a lot cheaper then too. So, you kind of have this give and take.
So I buy a home or do I buy groceries back in the day? No, I'm just kidding.
Exactly. There you go.
I remember my parents, the first home that they bought that I was aware of the price, aware of it. It was $40,000. Oh, yeah. And they were freaking out.
And I'm sure their interest rate, if you were to ask them.
I don't even know, because that was, that had to have been the mid 90s.
Okay.
Because that's when my brain was really remembering it. But, $40,000. I bought a car for $40,000. It's not even a nice, it's a nice car, but it's not no one looks at me when I drive by.
Yeah. Pretty crazy how things change. Yeah. But I just, I watched my parents do this real estate thing and I thought I'm never going to do real estate. That was literally
too many peaks.
It was too much like this. And so I graduated high school and I went to college to go into education. And so that's what I did for 20 years.
What did you do for education?
I was an elementary school teacher.
Oh, that's how you can speak my language.
There you go. So, and I mostly taught kinder and first. So I totally understand you, Nate. So that was my career. And I went back and I got my master's. Oh, wow. And I really wanted to keep learning. That learning thing was still, a part of me. And then I was working my way from classroom teacher into the administrative roles that I did take on. So when we decided to move to Bend, I finally told my husband, and don't knock me that we're from Southern California. Yes, we're those Californians, but they're all over. They're all over. But my parents had lived here for 18 years. We would come visit. We'd been visiting Central Oregon from the time I was little, and I've always loved Central Oregon.
There's been a lot of change.
But there's been a lot of change. When my parents bought their lot here before they ever built, Bend was this tiny little place. And I didn't think Bend was the place I'd ever want to move to, but we'd come visit Bend when they finally built. And man, we'd bring our kids here. And I told my husband, I'm just tired of the rat race of Orange County. That's where we were from in Southern California. And I
don't blame you.
Yeah. And I just, we have adult children. They were kind of on their way. One was still in college. One was going off to college. We had our young kids here. And they were in 2nd and 5th grade at the time we decided to move. My mom found our home here.
Was that 5 years ago?
Yes. It was actually maybe more like 6 years ago. Yeah, so we bought our home. So we sold our home in Orange County to our friends. We were out of our home in 30 days.
Okay.
It was November. I was still in education. I didn't want to leave my school site. I wanted to finish the school year and do it right.
You were getting to be a higher up, I guess, in education?
So I wasn't going to just be like, see ya, we're out. So we moved into our motorhome.
Oh.
From November till June, we lived in our motorhome. It was me, my husband, and our 2 kids and our 1 dog.
Ooh, been there.
Yeah, and that's a lot. Marriage is tough. Kids are tough. Throw you into a motorhome.
You can't escape. What are you going to do? You slam the door all hard as you leave?
Escaping. There's no. So if you can get through that, then the marriage is solid.
Yeah.
We're good. But so we did. And then we ventured. In June we hit the road and we had our home here in Bend waiting for us. And I thought I would stay in education. It was a passion. It was my love.
Yeah,
and I didn't want to start my career all over. I was, I didn't really want to go back to the classroom. I had kind of grown from that place.
Well, it seems scary to restart a career when you're not a kid anymore. Like,
yeah.
You're not a kid. You're not an old lady, but you're not a kid. You have responsibilities.
Exactly.
And to restart, that's got to be.
And my mom looked at me and my mom said, I could use the help. And I thought, I'll just get my real estate license.
Your mom has always been good.
Yeah,
so
and
she saw it in you.
She saw it in me, and I thought this was great. I would give me a little more time to help get my kids that were in 3rd and 5th grade at the time, kind of get them into new school, new surroundings, new areas.
Yep.
And so I did. I started studying for my license in July, passed my test in September, and here we are. I really just worked to get that license going and get moving.
Well, it seems after that sentence, it seems easy to get your real estate license. Was it easy? Or are you just making it seem that way?
I worked, you have to put in the hours. And no, it is not easy. That test is no joke. I'm not going to say I passed it the first time.
Okay.
I passed the national side, flying colors the first time. The state side, it took me a couple times.
There's probably a lot of jargon.
There is. It's like tests. They always want to try to confuse you even more.
You just filled in C for everything?
There you go. As long as it was C, we're good. Yep. You know how it goes. That's how it was. That's how I taught my kids. C's.
If in doubt, see it out.
Yes, you got it. So I did. And, that year, first year here, kids are getting in. We all know what happened that year with the pandemic and schools shut down. And now I could be a mom at home and focus on helping my kids.
You didn't see that coming.
Didn't see that coming. And I think I dodged it with a bullet. I will say, from all of my teacher friends who I loved and adored and got through all of that, and my administrators, it was a lot.
Yeah.
And I thought real estate, wow, it's going to tank, right? I mean, we're all stuck home.
But did it?
It went the other way.
Holy cow, did it go the other way?
It went the other way.
That's about the time, I keep hitting this table, that's about the time I started my business too.
Yes, it was.
Yep. And in fact, when Danny, the guy who I was working for, moved you in, and I was his helper.
Yes.
And your mom thought I was the leader of the company.
I think we all thought you were.
And I kept thinking, like, why did she think that? And then, you know what? I'm going to start my own. I was already mulling over starting my own thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then that just pretty much tipped me over. And then your mom was just like, I don't know what she was doing, just throwing me work.
Yes, she was.
And I tried my best to, I don't know what she saw in me, because I was an unproven, young-ish, naive, definitely, dude who didn't, I knew how to move.
Yeah.
But I didn't know how to run a crew or to do all the things your mom wanted me to do.
There was something there though too. My husband saw it too.
Oh, really?
Because your name in his phone is Nate, the guy who moved us in. Literally, that's the name he has you under.
I got Matt the Clock guy.
Yeah, so there you go. But it's, there was something there. And I think my mom saw it in me and my mom saw it in you. And she's a good judge of character as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And to even see where you've gone with your business. I know this is not really about, we're going to giving you a little bit of a pat on the back, because you've really just grown in an amazing business. And from the real estate side of things, when everybody's asking about moving, I'm always giving your number. And I said, even if it's going, something out of state you can't do, I think we know
exactly who to use.
Exactly. And that's why I'm not, your name's the only person I give out. And I'm like, if he can't help you, he knows where to go.
That's why I asked about the 2025 rendition of your tradespeople book.
Yep. Yes.
And that, I think I was in it in 2020. Your mom put me in it immediately. It seems like
she did.
And that, you can't buy that. I couldn't have bribed your mom to do that, I don't think. Mm-hmm. I doubt it. And I mean,
You're still in there.
I can't believe it. I mean, it seems like if you just put yourself out there, you kind of fall into good good favor, it seems like.
And that's what makes running a business, and that's what real estate is itself. You know, you really you put yourself out there, and you're there for your clients, and that's how I feel like, you know, there for my clients as well. But
besides your mom getting their foot in the door for you, how do you find a client? How does someone come up to you and say, Nicole, sell my house, I trust you?
Sometimes it's just conversation. You're in the right place at the right time. As weird as that is, yes, that
No,
happens.
that's not weird at all.
Yeah. And a lot of it too is, I mean, I've been blessed and lucky. You know, my mom built a great business. You know, she had to start over. She had a great business in Orange County that she left behind. She had to move here and start it all over. And so I really just watched her for the years that I had with her and how she did that. And it was really taking, you know, being there with your core group of people, and you're staying in touch, and you're making those connections. And a lot of it's referral based.
I would say, this is what 2019 is when we started our business, Higher Ground Moving, and the repeat and referral business. You would never think that you're going to get so many repeat and referrals. Is it the same with you, where you're selling homes multiple times? Like, Mr. Jones again?
I know. And I had just had clients who moved away. They thought they wanted to get in Arizona, realized they hated Arizona, and now they're coming back. And
we get those phone calls too.
You know, and when they called me, like, let's go do lunch, we need to talk. It's you're going, wait, you're back?
Yeah.
You know, but they do. They remember you, and it's somehow you make that impression on people, and it's just, you know, and it's keeping in touch and making those strong impressions.
It seems, so my wife's talked about becoming a real estate agent a few different times now.
Okay.
But I'm honestly like, babe, we ain't got time for that. Like, we run a business. You got, you know, your own task. I got my task. Real estate agents, they don't sleep. I'm sure you guys don't sleep. You guys are up all the time.
It's a 24/7 job. And I will say one thing I miss about the field of education. Winter breaks were time off. Spring break, summer, those are my times off. And this is a business that 24/7, you've got to be available to pick up your phone. You have to return those emails. And that's what makes it more successful.
I think that also, this is from outsiders, I see you guys driving in your nice car that's always washed. You're always looking good. Your hair is always proper. You always smell like something good. There's every real estate agent that I see that does business is on. They're always smiling. They're always remembering first names. They always have it going on.
Yeah.
How the frick? Do you go home and you just start hitting the booze and say, don't talk to me? Or like, what's this?
There's times like that. Like, you know, Matt, have the wine ready to go. Yes, you do. But at the same time, you want to show people you're real too. So like right now, I'm just more comfortable, like, you know, sweatshirt, you know, sweater, jeans, and I'm just more of a comfortable thing. You know, I wanted to be comfortable with you today too. Yeah. So, but you know, you want to show people you're real, but you also want to show them that you're professional. So it's kind of like that fine balance between it all. So when I'm doing an open house, yes, I'm going to dress up a little bit more, and you know,
it's almost expected because you're a person in power. You're in charge of. It seems like you're in charge of money and possessions, because you know a home is being sold, and every home is, you know, $500,000 to $1 million. If it's just a one-story nothing home anymore.
Exactly.
So you're dealing with relatively big money, and you put people put a lot of trust in you, and people judge immediately. And if they see you, and you're looking
haggard,
haggard's the right way. If you're looking like the wine time was 20 minutes ago, you're showing up a little foggy-eyed and funky. People aren't going to trust you anymore.
Exactly. You definitely always have to be in your A game, and even when the day is getting bad, you know, you got to make it look like everything's great.
It's fine. That fire's fine. It's no problem.
Yeah.
We'll put this out.
Yeah.
Oh, speaking of fires, I'm glad I brought that up. So evidently there's some fires going on in California.
Yes.
How do you think that's affecting that community? Everything's burned down. It's horrible. They're going to have to rebuild. What's that mean for the agents in that area?
Yeah.
You know,
it's hard to say. I don't have any agents that are actually, you know, in that exact area, but I can only imagine. I mean, you've got a lot of people, you know, a lot of things going on, homeowners insurance, like they're at fire insurance. There's a lot
Didn't they cut the fire insurance?
They did cut the fire insurance. So there's a lot of things, and I think we're all, I'm glued to the TV. You know, I'm from Southern California. I'm not from LA, but knowing some of those different areas, I am glued because it just breaks my heart. Yeah, and it breaks my heart, and you know, just seeing the devastation it's done, and it just, I mean, it's wiped it out. So, you know, for us here in Central Oregon, we actually had this talk yesterday. We're wondering if there's going to be an influx of people thinking, okay, I'm done and coming here. I don't know.
I was thinking that too. I was thinking two things. One, is there going to be an influx? It's going to be tough because there's not as many jobs here, but there's going to be a lot of remote workers who could do it. And it's a destination town.
Is it going to be, with the pandemic where people were just like, okay, the office is shut down. I can work from home. I'm done. I want, the forest in my backyard. I want the lifestyle change. I want to leave the big city life. And that's what we saw, the influx of people coming here.
Boy, howdy.
It will be interesting to see what happens. So,
do you think that Central Oregon, you're not a firefighter, I'm not a firefighter, but do you think this can happen to us? You think we can all burn down?
I mean, it's pretty scary.
Right?
Yes, and I think, last summer with the Sun River, that whole thing.
That started to get close.
It started to get close. It started to really open my eyes to little things. We did have, on the northeast side of town where I live, the fire that started over there, and I could see the flames from our backyard.
Yeah.
And I mean, it was enough to really realize it could happen. And I think for me, it made me stop, looking around my home and what is it that's important to me? And it was photos that I can't replace because I've got older kids before cell phones, before everything's on my computer, those things that were important to me. And I started looking online. What should you do? And that's going around your home.
What do you do?
You video every little aspect of your home. So you walk through, you want to, photos, things that of value, because if you're going to go through your insurance company, you want all of those things to be replaced. So you video everything. So I walked through and I did it. I walked through every little room. I walked through any photo that I knew that, maybe was a little bit more on the money side of things, but I did. I walked through and showcased my entire home. So if I was going to rebuild, that's just something that.
So you recommend that homeowners or renters or just people, you recommend people do that?
You should do it once a year.
Once a year.
Yeah.
So go through with your cell phone or your fancy camera.
Your whatever you have. Yeah, but just, this is, I'm walking into this and just, if you have high-end appliances in your kitchen, because you want all of that to be in the value of whatever it is to rebuild your home.
So you're thinking like it's harder to prove that I bought this high-end appliance with a receipt. Maybe you lost your receipt. Maybe your receipt's in the fire.
Who knows?
Maybe your digital record's not so perfect. But if you go through with the video, it can be good for the insurance. What about the insurance that they denied fire coverage?
I know. That's going to be it will be interesting, and I'm still going to kind of learn from this, kind of watching all of that.
Please do.
Because I think I need to learn for myself, because, we're still blessed and lucky to have our fire insurance, available. But could that be? I don't know.
On the drive here, I was thinking, if I get a phone call and insurance says, sorry, Mr. Becker, we're pulling fire insurance. I'm getting the heck out of town. I'm thinking, I see this. It happened in the Lahaina or whatever that was, and it happened again in the Palisades. And they're just pulling insurance before the fire comes.
Yeah. And it's interesting, and it is getting harder too, and people are coming here to find homeowners insurance. Either you can't get it in certain areas, if you're thinking La Pine, Sun River, and some of these other
burn zones
and everything like that, it is getting harder, and you're having to call. And I always tell people, all right, we've got this part now where you're buying this home, get on it now to figure out your homeowner's insurance.
If I don't know anything about insurance, my wife handles everything for me. So if you were to get, let's say, fire insurance here, and then they can just cut it on you at any time?
It's my understanding, yes. But, I to my understanding, that's what I'm hearing.
Okay. I got another really pressing question.
Yes.
Pressing. We already figured out what the L was about. What about the difference between a real estate agent and a broker? Are you all the same person?
We're all the same person.
Okay.
So here, it's so interesting you say that, because
I don't know.
Yeah, and it's right, because in California, you're not considered necessarily a broker, you're a real estate agent. So here, that's just the name. And then you can do more where you're a principal broker, which gives you more of like if you're going to run your own real estate
you're
company.
Almost a coach, or
you're running your own real estate company. Our principal broker here, he does all of our training.
John L. Scott, right?
And he's kind of like our boss.
Okay.
Yeah. So actually, our principal broker here, Jacob, he just kind of takes care of all of us and makes sure all of our documents are perfect.
Crossing your T's and dotting your I's.
Yep, you got it. Yeah, pretty much.
Well, how can, like I said before, I'm a mover. How can us movers work more hand in hand with real estate agents, brokers, wherever you're from? And how can I work with you and people that maybe you don't synergize with that are still in the same circle? Like I want you and I have a good relationship, but I
Mhm.
also want maybe you have a frenemy or an enemy in the real estate agent. Not that you would,
Yeah.
but can I work with multiple real estate agents and not peeve them all off? Or what can a mover do?
I think you can work with all agents. I
Mhm.
mean, you're just pretty much asking me what, just putting yourself out there and you reaching out to all of those different
Yeah.
agents. Absolutely. Because, people are moving here, people are moving out of here.
Mhm.
People are just moving right down the street, but they still need movers. And I know about you
Yeah.
and I know what you do. I know
Mhm.
Rachel's there to help
Mhm.
packing for those
Yep.
people who really need help with
She's
all their stuff.
she's packing for a blind lady right now.
So
I'm not gonna-
see, but those are the kinds of stories
Yeah.
you need to get out. And so for me, all of us brokers in town, we're actually super close. And I will
I
say,
assumed.
I learned a lot about what a family unit this is. It doesn't matter to me. Yes, we all want the listing. Yes, we get bummed if we don't get it and somebody
Yeah.
else does.
It's a competition to
But
a point.
it is. I mean, we're it's our job. But I will say, when my mom passed and we had her service, the amount of brokers from all over Central Oregon that were there to tell me about my mom and the stories
Yeah.
and this. We are a very close-knit family.
So you guys are like almost like brothers and sisters.
We
You
are.
compete, but like
We
you all
are.
want to win.
We really are, and it's like, we communicate, we send out our new listings, we ask each other, hey, I had this buyer looking for this, certain areas, but we're really close. So you building your business is these relationships like this. So if somebody calls me and says, hey, Nicole, and a mover,
Yeah.
obviously Nate's going to be my first person. I go, he may not be able to help with this, but he knows.
And we'll figure it out.
They'll
yeah.
figure it out.
Well,
So,
what about? I mean, if there's not a Danielle Snow to believe in a young Nate, how can another mover reach out to someone like you without being annoying? Because I know that like some people, they want to send cookies, or they want to just come by and they want to ask. But I feel like you guys might want something in return other than just do a good job, please, kind of thing. How would I get you if you didn't know me? How would I get you to recommend me? How would
take me out for drinks.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
No. Little tequila.
Yeah. Personally, I mean, I think it's just about who you are,
Mhm.
and I think that's the presence. Like just knowing you for over the years,
Mhm.
I don't think I need anything in return, but I just think, it's just knowing that when my clients call, you pick up the phone and
Yeah.
you're there for them, because that's what makes a successful business, is really being there for the clients, and again, listening to them. And even if you can't help them with that scenario, just taking that time. And
Oh, yeah.
so I don't need anything in return. I mean, you can
Are
give me
you-
all the referrals of people.
Of course, but do you think you're unique in that way? Because I've ran into movers who say they can't get in the ear of real estate agents. I wonder if those movers they're just like projecting themselves desperately. Like when you ask a girl out
Maybe.
and you're desperate, she's gonna say no. If you kind of breeze by a girl and swagger it and she just looks over it, it's kind of like that
Yeah.
technique. If you're too desperate, they don't want you.
Yeah. I mean, that could be. I just think I personally think it's a personal thing. I think it's just about you, genuinely who you are and what you want out of your business. It's not
Okay.
just a job, but it's your passion. I mean,
gotcha.
you've built this amazing business. I've watched you. I mean, I
Yeah,
see your
you've-
trucks
you've-
all over now, and
you've
I'm
seen
always
it.
like, who's in there?
Yeah.
I've seen you a couple times where I'm not going to honk and like get crazy.
I'm
But-
just driving over.
yeah.
What?
But when I see that, it makes me kind of, excited and happy. Like
I'm
I've
the same way with
seen-
all the other small businesses. I
Yeah.
see a car, with paint on it from a
Mhm.
small business. I think, heck yeah,
Yeah.
get it, buddy.
Yeah, but I mean, those are the little things. I mean, you can reach out to brokers, you can email brokers, you can, do your advertising with just, Central Oregon in general. I mean,
Mhm.
advertising is the best thing, websites and just really getting it out there. And you've got a great social media presence.
You think that's important?
I do.
Okay.
Videos, your videos are so spectacular,
Did you see the one the other day where I told about the mummy?
No,
Oh.
but now I'm going to have to go back and look.
I'll tell you real quick. It was breaking news out of Egypt. I'm surprised you didn't hear about it. They found a new mummy. Big news. Big news. This one's a very unique mummy, to be honest with you,
Okay.
because this mummy was done for its preservation is they actually dipped it in chocolate and rolled it in nuts. And archaeologists think that they finally found Pharaoh Rocher.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a lot funnier when I.
Okay. Come on.
It's funnier when you're eating Ferrero Rocher.
Yeah, I was like,
All right. So I have kids, and all my jokes are dad jokes.
Well, dad jokes are the best jokes.
All right. So let me get this straight. So a mover like me, owner of the company, we can have a good social media presence, and someone like you is going to see it, maybe,
and share it,
and we can come in and meet face to face. We can come to your open houses.
You can also, you can ask to see, but we, every Tuesday in the Bend office, and there's also another one on the Redmond, but the MLS tours, we have inspectors that show up there. We have, talking about their specials that they're having and things like that. So those are some little things that we can kind of talk about too, where, Higher Ground Moving's doing a special with whatever it is.
Oh, that'd be great.
Time. But, there's a lot of opportunities there.
So if a company owner or a head mover is being proactive, they're gonna get in front of you.
Absolutely.
And are there any other movers getting in front of you actively?
No. Just you.
You hear that, boys and
Just
girls?
you.
Get on social media. Let's do this.
The only other way, honestly, when are you going to be able to move out of state, people?
Oh, right. Okay, I love that you asked that.
Because that's my little hiccup right now. I'm like, but I always say call you anyways.
Yep. Yeah, right now we recommend, boy, my phone's just going off.
That's okay.
Right now we recommend Muscular Men Moving.
Okay.
And they do all our out of states.
Okay.
We're 80% through getting our license, and then we decided, holy cow, this is actually, the federal government really gets on you.
Okay.
Like the federal government gets on you. And I decided to become overwhelmed and not do it yet, to be completely blunt with you.
And that's completely fair to say, because I think there's you get to this point where you've grown such a great business right now, and you have to sometimes step back and just realize.
Well, the bluntness of it is, I really want to keep growing locally. I want to become the hometown dominator. There's another small business here in town, which I'll gladly talk about, Ben Brothers Moving. They're my frenemies. Chad, the owner.
Okay.
Great moving company, great guy.
Yeah.
But I can't have him dominating Central Oregon and me kind of slack off and start going more national things. I'm a very competitive person. Him and I are moving brothers, in essentially.
And being competitive is what makes a successful business too. Yes.
And we're competitive against each other all the time. In fact, hopefully you're going to watch this, Chad. And if you do, call me up. We'll get you on the next episode. Well, before I let you go, we're busy people. I know you got to be places. Where do you see yourself in the next few years in the industry? Do you see yourself staying in Central Oregon? Do you see yourself becoming the principal broker? Are you going back to education? What's up?
Yeah, so I see myself staying in real estate. Principal broker is a whole nother thing, but yes, I do see myself getting that. I'm not saying I want to run my own company.
I just heard you say it earlier.
Yeah, so I have finished the classes. I just have to take the test, to be in all honesty.
Okay.
But I think just staying here, my husband, who's the clock man, I'll put in a little plug for him, but he just got his license and he's joining me. So we have our own little team going on, just the husband and wife team, and maybe just growing from there. I think right now I just really want to focus on, we've still got kids at home. I still am a mom. They keep us really busy. It's on the go, and this is a 24/7 job. So, but just really from there, just keep it growing. And I've taken the last year to really learn a lot about myself, being that my mom passed away in July of 2023. And so I allowed myself 2024 to figure out me as a realtor, kind of branding me.
Yeah.
I don't have my mom, and that was a hard thing for me to realize.
I think the whole town suffered from that. I mean, your mom was a legend.
Yeah.
Still is a legend.
And I feel like, I was brought to Central Oregon, and yes, I gave up the career I worked so hard for so long, but man, it was a blessing in disguise, because I had those 5 years to really learn from her and be close with her. We hadn't lived that close to one another for a very long time because she moved here.
That would blow my mind. I just saw you guys as being like almost twins.
I know.
In my
There's people who still walk into open houses, you look like your mom. And I'm like, don't start crying, because then I'll start crying. And then it's just the wave effect. But, I did. I gave myself some grace this year. I had a great year. I have no complaints. And so now I'm just really going on to 2025, growing it with my husband, the business, and we'll kind of continue to see from there. But yeah, so not going anywhere.
Not going anywhere. You're sticking around for the long run.
I'm sticking around.
Well, I love it, and I appreciate you taking the time to sit down and hang out. We're here at John L. Scott in the media room, right?
Yes, this is our media room.
So I hope the lighting is good. Hopefully I got my good
see.
Side.
I know. What does it look like?
We look good.
I hope so.
All right, well, thanks for tuning in, everybody. And until next time, have yourselves just a good old-fashioned good time.
All right.
Podcast over, we're done.